calling the regular session to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, approval and amendment of meeting agenda items.
I move. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Annie.
I took a minute to get my page up. I'm ready. I move to approve the meeting agenda items for the March 10th, 2021 meeting as presented.
Second.
So we moved and seconded to approve the meeting agenda items for the March 10, 2021 meeting as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Approval of minutes.
I move to approve the minutes of February 10th, 2021 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of February 10, 2021 as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Good news.
Well, we have a couple good news. We have the TAP grant that came through there, $25,000. So we're working on that. That was the first step in the seismic. So we're excited about that. We have the governor has now put out a lot of money for summer programs. So I met with a couple people already in the community. So we're pretty excited about that opportunity. So we're going to look for partners. I met with Chamber and I met with Ginger at the theater. I have meetings with some staff, and we're going to have summer programs for our kids. So they're actually going to let that money come from different ways. So that would be daycare and for also this is a lot of money. So about $325 million, and of that, about $70 million is set aside just for early childhood and for summer programs. So that would be great for us to do that. Keep it there. Met with the parent of the union group a couple times, and we're really excited about our partnership there. So one of the first things we did identify was with Susan's leadership was to put a gravel pit down in there like they have over at Fremont for them to play. So we'll be doing that. I met with Quinn and them already. So we're finding the best location for it, and we think we have that identified. Then we'll put that in pretty quick. So that way our kids will have something, their younger kids will have something to do and they have the diggers and Tonka trucks and all that stuff. So the one request was the parents wanted to have a paint the trucks red since it matches the school color. So I can't promise that part, but that's one thing we're doing. So I'm pretty excited about that part, but that's the good news there. We also we got a guest speaker last night in the mentor class. Dr. Spetzer from Stanford came in and did decision making for our staff and gave a lot of free materials. And he is committed to coming back to our district and providing that for maybe the summer, make it one of the summer programs for free because they're a nonprofit. So that's pretty much it. And we appreciate administrators' work they've done. And I know that in the consent agenda coming up here, they're going to have my evaluation. And I want to thank everyone because my evaluation was really moving, very positive. And I can't thank everyone for their work on that. I have to thank my administrative team. Thank the school board and my assistants because without them we couldn't have done it. So thank you for the opportunity to work here. Love it. And the good news for me is that I got renewed, so that makes me very happy.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kerr. Then would you like to move on with the superintendent report?
Yeah, go right down the road. Thank you, sir. So we have, I mentioned engineering already. Mentioned that we have some title issues we're working on to try to get title grants. So in the past, what has happened in the title, there are 10 title grants to summarize it. The big one's Title I, and it's only at school site, so we have that at the elementary level. And then we have Title IV was homeless, and then Title II is supposed to be staff development. Last year, they allowed us to consolidate those, so I'm in the process of consolidating those now because we don't have any new data. But down the road, we'll separate those two. But I wanted to mention to you, so when you see the title reports have been consolidated, that's what we're doing because that's what they did last year. And since we haven't had committee meetings or ability to change those things, that's why we're doing it that way. Does that make sense? So that's all I have there. Am I missing anything? I'm trying to think. The survey results. So we sent the survey out. We did not get enough responses. So what we did is we have it open. We closed it today. So we have enough responses. They'll be analyzing the data for us, and I'll get that to the board as soon as we get the data. That would give us some very good insights. Looking at the preliminary things, parents would like to see more options for expanded options for some of the gifted and talented programs. We haven't done that. Also, the equity seems to be some pieces about making sure that all of our kids have access to all the curriculum, but they did point out that the ones I read preliminary it was nice to have an online option for some of our kids. So I mentioned that to you. That's just preliminary looking at it. And that was pretty much what I have, Mr. Chairman. Was there any questions the board may have for me?
Did you talk about Nicole's grant with right
Oh,
there?
I knew there was
highlighted?
one more thing. I put my thing on it. I apologize. Thank you, ma'am.
It's highlighted for you right there.
Yes, it is. So I put my list over the top. So here's the best part. So Nicole is one of our rock stars. Muller. She was the one with the when I actually was in a different district. I would come into the wellness program, and Lakeview has a great wellness program, and the board supports that. So here's what it says: congratulations, Lake County School District 7 has been awarded an OEA Choice Mini Grant for the amount of $4,974.98. Support branded T-shirts, fitness equipment, paddle boards, stipends for healthy eating, and this grant is a period from March 2021 to November 30th, 2021. So the trust gave the maximum award. So I just wanted to say her efforts were great, and again, it's pretty exciting to see all the people participate. We're water drinking this month, so it's pretty exciting. So we're serving a lot of water. But I just try to keep everyone wellness, and it's not just physical, but it's mental. So I know this is, I think, one of the things that's made our staff so strong. So I wanted to thank her for her efforts, and congratulations with that mini grant. Thank you for catching that.
Sure.
Any questions from the board? Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Public comment? Hearing none, we'll go to principal reports. Who would like to go first?
I will. The elementary is like a little beehive. If you've been by there, what we've been up to, we had Classified Appreciation Week last week, March 1st through the 5th, and the certified staff and other ancillary staff put on 4 meals. They did coffee cards. They brought coffee. The classified, I hope, felt very appreciated. They are a backbone piece of our organization, and we couldn't do this without them. And they were spoiled all week long. We also had board member Havel tour the elementary schools. We had a great time. He helped with some of our PBIS assemblies, so that was a good time. We appreciated him coming through. Our new teachers, I try to have new teachers a couple times a year do walkthroughs, which means they rotate around to different classrooms, looking at management styles, seeing how other teachers are teaching reading and math curriculum. We did our second set of those for our new teachers. We started into training for interim Smarter Balance tests, but we received word that we may be doing the regular Smarter Balance test, so we shifted gears. We had Tara Counts come down last Wednesday during early release and start getting our teachers trained so that in the event that we receive word that we are giving a Smarter Balance test, we are ready to go that way. We're holding monthly PBIS assemblies. The next one is March 19th. Julie Walker has been here working with our K-1-2 teachers on a phonics program that's paid for by House Bill 3499. And then also from House Bill 3499, Janice Heigl will be here March 15th and 16th next week. We're also working on getting our draft budgets to Ms. Nelsness. I would like to give a shout out to Quinn McKay, who has been helping us out with some deficits in our custodial staff. And whether he's driven out to Union and emptied garbages, he's helped in the cafeteria. He's really stepped up and done a great job helping us out when we needed a little extra. I also wanted to give a shout out to Rosanna Cahill. And this is not as evident sometimes behind the scenes in your schools, but as a school counselor, she goes in and teaches a program called Character Strong, which teaches character education. And we all know that character education is one of the things that's missing for our children, and that's one of the reasons they're not successful in academics is they don't know how to learn. They don't know how to self-regulate. They don't know how to control their emotions. She goes into classrooms and helps the kids with that and teaches those those character traits. We have one each month. Currently, we are working on empathy. And when you walk into the elementary schools, the bulletin boards are bright, they're cheerful, they make a nice learning environment. And she puts up the majority of all those bulletin boards every single month with her students that she works with in small group. And so we have some really great artwork up right now. We have some paintings from some third graders that are called the Faces of Empathy, which represents our character trait that we're working on. And so just some neat things going on that way. We're really proud of that work she's doing. Union School has all new Chromebooks. It was easier for us because of their charging cords and kind of a mismatch of stuff that Mr. Reese made the decision. We put all new Chromebooks at Union. And then in town, as far as an update for tech, teachers, 2 classrooms share 1 Chromebook, and then there's quite a few extras floating around for kids that go to quarantine or replacement ones. But right now we're in really good shape with tech, and I thank Mr. Carter very much for that. And that's what we've got going on at the elementary school. We'd love to see you guys anytime you'd love to stop by and visit. Any questions?
Thank you, Mrs. Werner.
Sure.
Mr. Stratton?
Good afternoon, everybody. Lakeview High School, Middle School report. Job openings. I think I'm at 5 job openings for teachers for next year. High school math, high school science, high school art, which is a combination art with a couple middle school classes, high school language arts, and high school Spanish ELL. Registered for another virtual job fair this week. So I think I'm up to 3 virtual job fairs. They all start here real soon. And we'll just see what happens. I've had 2 applications so far. And I reached out to both applicants and said thank you, and I'll be in touch real soon to start the interview process with them. That's where we're at with those right now. Our Honor Society had an induction ceremony, I think it's been 2 weeks now, up at the ski hill. I'd like to say thank you to that organization for allowing us to rent that chateau. But perfect little setting for this environment. And the new inductees, 2 new inductees from the junior class, Colin Marcus and Kel Stratton, and from the sophomore class, Caleb Albertson, Jayla Jackson, Tyler McNeely, Ryan Mesner, Trevor Owens, Bridget Schulenberger, Annika Takini, and Carly Vickerman. And I'm pretty excited about that because our numbers were dropping. So to bring this young group back in, that large group of sophomores, and to keep that club going. They do a lot of things out in the community, volunteer work, and then a few things in the school. The dodgeball tournament and the Noni Color Run are 2 of their big events. So I'm excited to have that group up and running. Also, because of COVID and things, you guys haven't heard much about some of our other groups, so tonight I'd like to give you a quick snapshot on our FFA chapter. So I'll put my glasses on here and go ahead and read this for you. This time of year is always a busy time for FFA activities, and this year we have participated in the usual activities with some adjustments for safety. In January, we had 6 members give their oral portfolio presentations which satisfy the final requirements for their state FFA degrees. During the virtual state FFA convention, state degrees will be presented to Dylan Newville, Logan Price, Abby Thames, Rachel Cahill, and Emily Filbert, along with Annette Harlan. So congratulations to those. Proficiency awards are based on strength of an FFA member's agricultural project. This competition included a lengthy application in which the member must explain the time and money invested, money earned, and skills learned. At the district level, an interview form from a panel of FFA members from each chapter in the district was also included. Our chapter had 2 members compete and several members conduct interviews. Dayton Owls placed 2nd in the beef production placement area, and Zach Reese placed 1st in the forage production. Zach competed at the state level, and the results will be announced at the state convention. The district leadership competition was held virtually in February. Brandon Marcus, a freshman, and Kaden Warda, a freshman, both competed in the Creed speaking contest Dave Miles, Dylan Newbill, Zach Reese, Fletcher Damon, and Kyler Sturba competed in the co-op quiz, which tests their knowledge of cooperatives in agriculture. Brandon Marcus placed second in the Creed speaking and will compete at sectionals. Zach Reese placed second in the co-op quiz and will compete at state. One more here. Last week, the Southern Oregon District, which is one of the largest districts, had their elections for officers. It was held via Zoom. Candidates filled out applications and were interviewed by a nominating committee consisting of representatives of each of the 12 chapters in our district. Finally, the candidates gave speeches to a group of delegates who then voted on their choices. We're excited to report that Lakeview will have 2 district officers. Rachel Cahill was elected as a district secretary, and Emily Philbert was elected as a district reporter. Really proud of those 2 young ladies representing not only our FFA chapter, but the district FFA chapter. And this office will open doors for both of these young ladies if they decide to pursue a state office position. And they will go here in May and hang out with all the state officers for a district officer workshop. And hopefully some of the COVID restrictions are lifted and they can participate in that. And that is a report from the FFA. Next month I'll have an ASB report. Here's my notes. Hey, blood drive. I was reached out by Rebecca O'Rourke from the Red Cross. And she said, Mr. Stratton, we would like to do blood drives and have the school be part of it as volunteers and donors. And in doing so, your school would qualify for a scholarship. I said, yes, please sign us up. And then we've been tagging back and forth. But anyways, this week, March 10th and March 11th, there is a blood drive. And we are one of the sponsors. Lakeview High School is one of the sponsors. I have a handful of students who are going to be working at that blood drive both on Wednesday and Thursday. And in return, then, one of our students will be eligible for a scholarship. So I'm going to continue that partnership. I'm pretty excited about it. Miss Lisa Schillerberger is helping with me kind of ramrod this and making sure that we have school volunteers. And possibly in the future, maybe have the blood mobile parked out in front of the school like we used to in the past. So trying to get that program up and going again. So I'm pretty excited about that. There's a sports drink and water vending machine in the cafeteria at the high school, and we kind of changed the operation with that. And so currently now Pepsi brings the product to us, but I'm now having some of our special ed students do the stocking of the vending machine, and then they're also now they're counting the money, so learning how to count and operate money, and then they're doing a money report to Miss Emma, and Emma is showing them the ins and outs of that, and so we're getting them some job skills. So pretty excited about that little piece. I can't believe I missed out on this a long time ago, and so I have 2 students and a para taking care of that. Erie Cup speeches were this week. The finals are tomorrow. I think we have anywhere from 6 to 7 kiddos in the freshman, sophomore, and junior finals. I'm so excited about Erie Cup. It's a neat opportunity. I was talking to a junior who's new to our district, and he goes, I've never had to do this before. I go, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be just fine. And, you hear stories from our kids who come back after their first year of college, and they say, yeah, the class was freaking out, and I nailed the speech part. So Erie Cup is live and willing, and we'll have a small crew doing the finals tomorrow. We are doing, I don't know if you've heard this, but we're doing Sources of Strength in partnership with some Lake County people. And this is a program where we teach our own students and staff members how to help our own students with suicide. It's a program that I'm familiar with. Had both schools in Wyoming on it. And I think through our trainings, the cool thing was the regional trainer said, wow, you guys have great kids. And so that's really cool to hear. Anyway, so we are working with that with our schools. I was talking to a parent at a sporting event last week in Boise, I believe. And they said it's tough. It's really tough. Our neighboring district had 3 suicides last month. And that was out of the Seattle area. I think even more so now with COVID and the stress that it's put on everyone, I'm glad that we're getting this program up and running, because a lot of times our kiddos, our students hear about things way before we do. So we have a handful of students, grades 7 through 12, with staff mentors. We actually have a couple staff from other agencies that are working too with our kids. So I'm excited about that. And that's all I have. So thank you. Sorry, long-winded. Any questions?
I have a question for both of you. In the past, we've talked about enrollment numbers. We haven't heard much about that. How is enrollment doing?
That's a good question, Mr. Schillenberger. We actually probably gained some at semester because we had a lot of Lakeview Academy kiddos roll over. I would say we haven't had any much movement yet. I expect some movement. We know of some prison families that are leaving town. And also, I wasn't going to talk about it today, but since you brought it up, I've lost a couple students due to attendance. They're taking alternative education routes.
Okay.
But I would say about the same. Not very many. I had one high school move-in, 2 high school move-ins at semester, then a handful of Lakeview Academy. So the in-person school, our enrollment is up, but in the big scheme of things, probably I'm +2 total, +2 or 3, but I just lost to alternative education routes. So I'm probably just steady as where we're at.
Okay.
I'll have numbers next meeting.
Susan, anything different for elementary? Maybe she has us on you. Okay, how about Lakeview Academy Vice Principal and AD report?
Thank you. Enrollment for the Academy, we have 60 students that are within the instructional services platform, and that's where we support the kiddos, and they have teachers, content experts through the Edgenuity curriculum online. At least another 13 right now that are in the courseware platform, and what that is where Samfar is their teacher building the classes for them within the Edgenuity curriculum also, but it's slightly different. It's like the alt-ed class that Mr. Counts, Mr. Stratton runs. So it's almost an identical curriculum. Slight difference in the way it plays out, but a total of 73 right now. You'll recall we had a high of about 106 last semester when we started, and then it kind of evened out there to about 80 at the end of the semester. And so we did have those early graduates, and we had quite a few come back to campus, especially at the secondary level. Just this week, we had some parent meetings on attendance and progress. And all of those were virtual. If I recall, no, we actually did have a couple come in to the building. So that's nice to be able to see some of those families too face to face. So we did have a couple come into the building. By and large, the majority were virtual over phone or over the computer. And thinking we did have one more spot open, Lane. We have that sped teacher spot open too that we're trying to fill. So we have those 6 spots for next year on campus. We're doing the budgets as well, so I just sent out budgets and for a couple of the clubs such as FFA, our pet band, and equestrian team, things like that, but then also all of our athletic budgets. And so Susan and Lane and I are doing that here in the next couple of weeks, finishing those up and getting those submitted before spring break for Janet. Athletics is rolling pretty fast and furious, lots of changes. For example, today La Pine's girls soccer game was canceled due to weather conditions and field conditions in La Pine. Ours burned off pretty nicely, but we have to make those calls before the buses leave in the morning. So it was nice though that OSAA did release last week a couple of extra contests for this culminating week for the fall sports. So if we can find it, we can get an extra football game. We can get 3 more soccer matches, a couple more volleyball matches, and another cross-country meet as well, over what they had originally said were the limits for the contest for those teams. Pitchers and catchers, it can start March 22nd, Monday the 22nd of spring break. So that's pretty quick.
That's quick.
And so pitchers and catchers get out there, get those arms warmed up. and then official practice for everybody else will be the 5th. Contest starting April 12th. So there's big overlap. Monday day week
That's
and
right.
a lot of overlap. So we're gonna have maybe some teams short on their practices. However, it's nice, though, as AA has said, if you're participating in a fall sport, you don't need those required 5 practices to start your spring contest. So they recognize that. No word on any extra contest limitations for those spring sports yet. And again, no word still on winter, if the state is gonna permit us to do winter full blown. So those winter sports, remember, are in the summer, and winter sports actually go over graduation weekend. So we're working through that and see how that looks. But I'm going to lobby Mr. Stratton to actually have basketball games on graduation weekend. No, we'll reschedule those, but we'll figure it out.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Rose? Thank you. Special Education Director, Lonnie Chavez.
So I've really appreciated how I've been able to review IEPs in our admin meetings. The process has worked really well so that we can talk about, those aha moments and also things that we can work on. Last month I completed a basket exercise with a current IEP. We went through different scenarios and questions, and it's amazing to see the great ideas that the admin staff come up with when you look at a different lens. And so it's really a good, helpful process to support all students. So I hope to be able to do more, and I think it's helping us strengthen the IEPs in our district for special ed students. Do you have any questions? That's all I had.
Okay. Thank you, Lonnie.
Thank you.
Any questions? All right, financial report. Jen?
Good evening, everybody. Things that I wanted to bring up, you guys asked about attendance or enrollment, better yet, and I just wanted to bring to your attention that I don't have, as I left it on my desk. So if one of y'all wanted to go find it on my desk, that'd be super, but we are down from when we started or when we estimated overall, and so I just did a little bit of a true up already, where they looked at our second period ADM, and so we are going to go from about $470,000 a month to $450,000 a month in the month of March and April for our monthly payment. Excuse me. And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and that reflects over the full year. So it's not just the last 2 months. So I think they're trying to soften the blow when we do actually true up for this year, and not have to owe those dollars back. So that's just a side note that I wanted to bring to your attention. As financially, this is through January 31st, 2021. Our month to date revenues is $649,000, which were favorable at this point. We're above what we had planned that we would be at. About $70,500. So what that is there's a prior year taxes that we received from the county. It's approved. We got 2/3 of the settlement in January. We should, and then the rest of it comes later on. And it was the communication settlement. A little boost to our bubble that we had there. Our month-to-date expenditures were under plan about approximately $50,000 in the month of June. But then also, we kind of slow down once we get past the first of the year. So as you can see in the revenues piece of this, we're right about overall on our year-to-date revenues. And our local is about 88% versus 85%, which affected that partially the prior year tax situation there. Our state sources were right about 66%. We usually stay pretty close this year, so next month, or excuse me, in the going down the March and start looking at those, it'll show less that they're gonna divvy out to us for the last 2 months, or the March and April payments. And of course, May payments is a true up from 2000 and year ending 2000. So that's a whole nother ballpark that gets convoluted after a moment. To the expenditures, 3%. We're down in our other objects outside of salaries and benefits, but benefits and salaries were up quite a bit versus the 53% that we were actually at versus the 47% that we estimated. And I keep reiterating this, that every month that, you know, we've hired quite a few all the COVID, etc. And so the rest of the stuff, the other objects, consumables, durables, etc., we're our estimate of 40% versus 37% that we're actually at so far. Okay. So our month-end balance for January, we're right about 3.3%. If you look at the graph, we're kind of trailing right along as we were from last year. But if you start looking at March and April, we're going to start falling off in the current year. And so I had this conversation today that I was getting a little nervous, and he said I should be, which scared me even more. So, but to affect the our monies, those will be that's going to surface in our supplemental budget. So this is going to look totally different as soon as I advertise that. I was ready to pull that, like you mentioned before, for the title awry, and then there's a couple of other, the big major grants that came out the last couple of days, and so it was probably a good thing that I didn't get to our supplemental budget, because there's going to be some drastic changes yet again. So we may be approving supplementals and new budgets in June. I'm not really sure, but that could very well happen. But we're rolling with it at this point. Other than that, year to go by about $301,000, which takes into effect actually for those ESSER funds that are coming from the feds, and the property tax lawsuit that we did not obviously expect to have. So right at the moment, even though we look like we're falling off in March, April, May, and June. Are there any questions? Okay.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you.
All right, do we have any old business?
No, sir.
New business, resolution number 9, Classified Employee Appreciation Week, March 1st through the 5th.
Mr. Chairman and Board, Classified Employee Appreciation Week, we were not in the meeting, so we had to wait a little bit, so I'm sorry, but we're a little ex post facto, but I wanted to make sure this resolution got passed by the board. Whereas the education of youth is essential to the future of our community, state, country, and the world, and whereas classified employees are the backbone of our public education system, and whereas classified employees work directly with students, educators, parents, volunteers, business partners, and community members, and whereas classified employees support the smooth operation of offices, the safety and the maintenance of the building and property, and the safe transportation, healthy nutrition, and direct instruction of students, and whereas our community depends upon and trust classified employees to serve, and whereas classified employees with their diverse talents and true dedication nurture students throughout their school years. Now therefore be it resolved that the Lake County School District Number 7 Board of Directors proclaims March 1st through the rest of the month to be Classified Employee Appreciation. And it be further resolved that the Lake County School District 7 Board of Directors strongly encourages all members of our community to join in the observance, recognizing the dedication and hard work of these individuals.
All right, thank you. you're here for our classified staff. Okay,
We need a motion for that,
Aye.
Mr. Chairman.
okay.
I move to approve resolution number 9, classified employee appreciation week, which took place March 5th through the 9th, and we're gonna continue with for the month. We would like to extend our appreciation for the great work our classified staff do for Lake County School District number 7.
Second.
Second.
It's moved and seconded to approve resolution number 9, classified employee appreciation week, which took place March 5th through the end of the month. And we are extending our appreciation for the great work of our classified staff for Lake County School District number 7. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Number 2, 2021-22 ESD Local Service Plan. Mr. Thompson?
Well, good evening, everybody. It's that time of year again. I'll just try and keep this short. You've got a pretty good sized agenda here. So you've got a copy of my local service plan. And if you turn to page 4, under my superintendent message, it has some bulleted items there, and those are the major changes that are taking place in the local service plan. The first is that we're losing Jana Greenshield. She is our school psychologist. She is going to be retiring. So we're excited for her, but we're not happy about having to try and find somebody to take her position. She'll never be replaced, but at least there'll be somebody there. So if any of you know anyone that is qualified to be a school psychologist that would be willing to apply, our position's posted, so we're looking for that. Our nursing services, from our original proposal that we had given to the budget committee, that was just going to be for the 4 smaller districts. And Lakeview, you had a nurse and then your nurse quit. And so we added Lakeview back into the mix of having those nursing services. So that will be also part of next year's plan. This year we've had that in place. It hasn't really happened because of the fact that the nurses have all been, overwhelmed with all of the COVID and having to do phone calls and tracing of who's done what. So they've been extremely busy, and so we haven't had a lot of nursing services this year, but they do have a new nurse, Jill Harlan. She quit and she moved to Baker City. And so they have a new one, and we'll be getting that up and running here. Well, it's actually up and running now, so we can contact them. Our school liaison for ODE and the Student Success Act is Amy Fortune. That originally was Elena Bradbury. And we've added those duties to Amy Fortune's plate. Still not very happy with Lonnie for hiring Elena away from me. But hey, turnabout's fair play. Just wait and see. So it's gonna get ugly out there.
Never miss a moment to tell me that. Now you always remind me.
So the ESD is also going to be continuing with being part of the Regional Educator Network, or they call it the REN. In fact, there's a board meeting going on this week, Thursday and Friday. There's quite a few people going off to that. They're providing the professional development for the region, and it's more so than just a county by county or even district by district. It's actually region, so it's about 5 counties that are all participating in that and all doing professional development in a coordinated fashion. So it seems to be really working out well. And as right now, most all of it's been virtual. And so that's been really great for us in rural areas. We had originally posted and had planned on having to contract for a speech and language pathologist again, like we've done the last 3 years. But the contracted speech and language pathologist that we have right now loves us so much, she is willing to jump ship from her contracted position, and she's going to become our employee next year. So we're very excited about that. So she's going to be with us for probably at least a couple, 3 years after this. So that'll be very nice, because we've seemed to have a constant turnover on the south end of the county here.
Who is that again?
That's Kathleen Jones is her name. And she's been doing fantastic. She's been very well liked by the students and staff, so. And then the last thing is probably the biggest change in our local service plan is the superintendents have directed me to hire a behavior specialist and a behavior specialist mental health counselor. And this is in response to the needs of the students from all the traumatic events and everything that's been going on. So this is going to be mainly paid through the Student Success Act monies. We currently have a interview on Friday for a position, and so I'm going to be interviewing that and get that person hopefully started up as quickly as possible. I'm really excited about this person. And once if and when we hire her, we release her name, you will be very excited about her also. And then also, I'm going to be working with a contracting company to try and get an additional behavior specialist to finish out this year. So we'll have 2 up until June. And I'm working on that right now. And hopefully we'll get an interview the first part of probably Monday of next week. So we'll get that going too. So that is the major changes of our local service plan, and I'm open for questions. So.
Okay, any questions? Well, thank you, Mr. Thompson. Excellent report.
Thank you.
Okay, number 3, certified teacher.
Wait.
Oh, we got it.
I move to approve the 2021-22 ESD local service plan as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 2021-22 ESD local service plan as presented. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Now number 3, 2021-22 certified teacher and administrator contract renewal, non-renewal.
Yeah, we have, Mr. Chairman and Board, we have no non-renewal, so we get to keep everybody. We had a couple people resign because of personal issues and things, but nothing performance.
I move to approve the 2021-22 certified and administrative contract renewal, non-renewal as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 2021-22 certified administrative contract renewal / non-renewal as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Memorandum of Understanding between the Lake County School District Number 7 and KCC.
So, Mr. Chairman and Board, this has been a outstanding performance to get everyone through here, so we appreciate President Gutierrez and Skip Massey, been really great. So Chip Massey, so we've been really wonderful to make sure that this is happening, so I think we're in a good start here. It's a great place, we're waiting for the budget to come through, and we'll know where more funding's coming. But I think this keeps us in place, placeholder, and Tara Counts has done a great job with that.
I've also reviewed the memorandum, and it's for what you guys are able to do, it's effective legally and doesn't put the district and it also does not prevent the district from going back to the prior arrangement it's had if funding's available for KCC to come back on site. So
They'd be at the prior places, EMS.
So I move to approve the memorandum of understanding regarding the partnership between Lake County School District Number 7 and Klamath Community College to support higher education opportunities in Lake County, Oregon as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the memorandum of understanding regarding the partnership between Lake County School District Number 7 and Klamath Community College to support higher education opportunities in Lake County, Oregon as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. That's a big accomplishment. Yep. Number 5, PERS bonding.
So, Mr. Chairman, appreciate and board, we appreciate Janet's done a lot of work on this, learning it. This is very convoluted and difficult. So what we have here is we have a timeline for you to see how it works. We have plenty of time to pull it if we don't feel comfortable with it, but right now the option here could be pretty substantial. We have a $10 million bond, PERS debt approximately, so we can get this bonded and make money for our district and make it more fiscally sound. It's a very laborious task and process. Next month, I'm bringing in the group and we're going to talk about it and have boards have questions. The only way I try to explain it simply, very simply, is if you have a credit card debt of 17% and you go refinance that credit card and get it at a lower debt, a lower rate, then that's how you make your savings. So that's a simple way of saying it, but that's very convoluted. As one of our board members does this kind of stuff knows, this is pretty tough, messed up. It's a lot of work. But we can wind up, I think, Janet, you said 19 districts or 17 districts?
18.
Yeah, there. See, I'm right in the middle, so I knew it was a lot. So that's what we have right now committed. And then we don't know the exact amount, how much money that will be, but it's gonna be in a few hundred millions of dollars. So I just wanted to make sure you're aware of it. And again, this is a huge study for Janet and she's spending a lot of time on it. So it's just hard to understand, but we'll get there. We will make sure the board knows every bit of it before we go forward.
Any other discussion? Is there a motion?
I move to approve to engage Piper, Hawkins, and Jackson to explore bonding PERS debt as presented.
Second.
Alright, it's been moved to approve to engage Piper, Hawkins, and Jaffray to explore bonding PERS debt as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Just so everybody knows, I'm on the consent agenda as volunteer coach. So should
I know
I?
that you're gonna pass that background check.
I pulled some strings, Corey. I think we
I will
got
abstain.
Perfect, perfect.
Oh my God.
I will abstain.
references.
It's been moved to approve the consent agenda and seconded as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay.
And
Four,
you got
four
first.
ayes, one abstain. Number 11, announcements.
None at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, next board meeting agenda items.
We have, we're gonna have a work session with the PERS in a half hour beforehand. Then we'll have a instructional calendar, our first draft we're gonna bring to the board. And we're doing a little differently this year. We have taken into account the, Jewish holiday, the Most Holy Day, and also after the roundup. So we'll start school on the 8th of September is going to be our proposal. So I have learned that from my mishap in September, and I'll leave it at that. So, and then the next one will be talking about the Certified Appreciation Week. So that'll be the next part. We also then have the Honor Society presentation. So we're very excited about having that. And that's all we have at this time, Mr. Chairman.
All right, sounds good. Next item is adjournment.
I move to
I move
adjourn
we
the
adjourn
meeting.
the meeting.
I can read that one.
Give that one to Scotty.
Yes, I can't see over there.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.